Building chords with fourths is an excellent way to create sonorous, modern, and sleek structures that can easily be moved around and connected to other open chords. In this video, we will discuss how to construct some of the most common fourth-like voicings so that you can quickly get them into your own playing. Let's go to the keyboard. One of the most iconic fourth-like structures is called the so what voicing, made up of fourths built up from the root with a major third on top. This voicing works well for most minor chords. Check out the following progression. So what voicings are built off the first and second degrees of D Dorian scale, followed by fourth voicings built off the third, fifth, and sixth scale degrees. This 5-chord movement is useful when comping on modal tunes or when there's a long stretch of a single minor chord. When playing a tune with many 2-5-1s, try these useful fourth-like voicings. Or these are excellent voicings for when the melody is the root. For dominant and major chords, drop fourths from the root or fifth and place over guide tones. Let's take a look at that. If you notice here for the G13, fourths are dropped from the fifth, and the other G chord, here's G9, fourths are dropped from the root and placed over guide tones in the left hand. For the C chords, we have fourths dropped from the root and placed over guide tones for C6-9, or alternatively you can drop fourths from the fifth and place over 7-3 guide tones. And for minor 7 chords, drop fourths from the root and place over guide tones, or from the 11, place over guide tones. So note that the voicings are primarily made up of fourths, but sometimes contain thirds or fifths, hence the fourth-like classification. Avoid thirds on the bottom. So 2-5-1 using fourth-like voicings. For minor 7-flat-5, use fourth-like voicing for the dominant chord a major third lower. For example, for E minor 7-flat-5, play a C9 or C13 fourth-like voicing. For altered dominants, you can drop fourths from the sharp 11. Let's see, for G7 alt, I can drop fourths all the way down from the sharp 11 and place over guide tones, or I can drop fourths from the flat 9, place over guide tones. Observe how in doing this you create dominant voicings a tritone away. So for G7 alt, I'm actually, I'm building the fourth-like voicing for D flat 9 and D flat 13. So here are two variations for minor 2-5-1. That's B flat 9, but if you put it over a D, it becomes D minor 7-flat-5. And then G7 alt, dropping from the sharp 11, and then C minor 6-9, I just drop from the root, drop fourths from the root, and place over guide tones. Another variation is B flat 13, but if you place it over a D, it implies a D minor 7-flat-5 chord, followed by fourths drop from the flat 9, placed over G7 guide tones, and then resolve it to a so what voicing for C minor 7. So you have this or this for minor 2-5-1. So now what we're going to do is just use those voicings that we just discussed to play along with Bill Evans on the famous 1958 recording of On Green Dolphin Street with Miles Davis. And for diminished 7th chords, use drop 2 voicings. And for this, I'm going to use the play along that comes with An Approach to Comping Volume 2, Advanced Concepts and Techniques. That's also available at chuckshare.com, sharemusic.com. This one is a play along that's got Pete Van Nostrand on drums, David Wong on the bass, and the great Jerry Weldon on tenor. So I'm just going to use the 4th-like voicings that we've discussed so far and comp along for the first chorus. Let's give it a try. Here we go. Okay, this next section is a bit beyond the scope of the Introduction to Jazz Piano book, but I feel it may be interesting to some of you. If it's too much, feel free to skip ahead to the final section on Stella by Starlight. Let's return to Figure 1 and the 5-chord pattern for minor chords. Not only can the progression be used for minor chords, but it can be useful for 7 sus. So it works great for D minor, but it also works great for G sus, G7 sus. In fact, if you emphasize the 2nd and 5th chord and use the 1st, 3rd, and 4th chords as passing chords, the same progression can be used for major. So for C major, I'm going to emphasize this one and this one, and I'm going to use these chords as passing chords and come to rest on either the 5th chord or the 2nd chord. So in that way I can make 2 5-1s. Okay, I can use 2 5-1s. I can use the 1st, 3rd, and 4th chord for the 2-5, and then I can use the 2nd and or the 5th voicing for 1. So that's one idea, or it's another idea for 2 5-1, or that's another idea. Going one step further, for minor 7 flat 5, you can use the 5-chord pattern starting on the minor 3, minor 3rd above. So if I'm trying to get a D minor 7 flat 5 sound, I can use those 5 chords starting on F minor to imply a D minor 7 flat 5. I can also do a similar thing for altered dominance. I can play the 5-chord pattern starting a half step above for G7 alt. I can play the A flat minor 7 5-chord pattern, so it sounds like this. So I'm sort of superimposing these 5-chord patterns to create some interesting harmonic motion. It takes you out of the normal harmony and contains some dissonant notes, but sometimes going a little bit out can be fun and effective. So here are 2 ideas for a minor 2-5-1. I could do this. Or I could do this. Okay, for diminished 7ths, I can also use the drop 2 voicing. So for, let's say, F sharp diminished 7, that's in on Green Dolphin Street. I can certainly use this. I can modify that and raise the alto voice up a whole step. So in other words, I can play a D triad second inversion over E flat, F triad second inversion over G flat, A flat triad second inversion over A, or B triad second inversion over C. So here's on Green Dolphin Street again, incorporating the 5-chord pattern from figure 1 in different ways, along with some other additions and modifications. Okay, since this is the last video on chapter 4 from the book, I thought it would be nice to give you one more example of a solo piano arrangement of a standard using all of the devices studied from chapter 4. Simple open position, upper structure triad, spread voicing, hybrid spread, drop 2, and 4th-like. Okay, stay tuned for other YouTube videos highlighting other parts of Introduction to Jazz Piano Deep Dive. Feel free to subscribe below. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.